What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and I've got some incredibly positive news. We did not sign Andre Ayew today. He signed for Nottingham Forest. Thank God. Really positive. Other positives today was Sean Dyche's press conference. I mean, I'm not being funny. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. He was articulate. He spoke really well of the current squad. He easily could have threw Kevin Thirlwell and the board under the bus for their lack of signings, which, look, we all know. There's no hiding it. We all know the club let him down. But he didn't use it as an excuse. He just said, look, we're going to get on with it. We don't want to sign players for players' sake. We feel like we've got a good enough squad. We've got real quality here. That is exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear that we've actually gone and invested 300, 4, 5, 6 million, 700 million pounds in some players that just needed a bit of redirecting. I want to know that Maupay is the next Neymar. I want to know that Calvert-Lewin is the next Mbappe. I want to see players being able to actually perform to a level that you expect. And what's been really disappointing with Everton over the last... Let's be honest, it's been years now. They've just underperformed under every manager, and I kind of feel like there's a man that's come in today. He's got control of the rudder, which is, I mean, the boat is all over the shop. He's grabbed that rudder by the scruff of the neck, and he's saying, right, we're going to go in that direction, and it might take a little bit of time. We might have to take, I mean, he used this phrase about, you know, boats on calm seas, and it's different when you're steering a boat on stormy weather, etc. I mean, honestly, at one point today, I was listening to him, and I've gone from feeling like we're going to finish rock bottom in 20th to we're going to stay up. You know, and I'm not sitting here saying all of a sudden I've heard one press conference and I think we're going to stay up. I'm not, but I'm certainly more positive. You know, I mean, if Sean Dyche can do that to a fan who, I've got to be honest, is completely, I'm not going to say disinterested, because if I was, I wouldn't go and watch the games. You know, I'm travelling up this weekend to watch us potentially get our arse handed to us by Arsenal. But he's coming and he's just reassured everyone that he's on the job and he's on it, and he's going to graft and he's going to try and get this team to get results. And I just felt really positive. It felt really positive. I felt like if I was on a sinking ship that had no lifeboats left, and there was no debris for me to be the Jack and somebody to be the Rose and me to be holding on for dear life, but you had Sean Dyche in the background saying, Mike, don't worry, mate, you're not going to die tonight, I'd believe him. I'd believe him. I think he was absolutely fantastic. And actually, I'll go further than that. He's exactly what Everton Football Club have needed. I've said this before, and I said it during this whole Bielsa thing. A lot of people were choosing Bielsa over Dyche. It was madness in my mind. It was absolutely madness, because you wouldn't have had a press conference like today. You wouldn't have had that injection of passion that we've got today. You know, irrespective of the result on Saturday, because I'm not expecting him to be a miracle worker, but you know already that Everton team are going to show us something that we haven't seen for a while. And I'm not saying we're going to win the game. I'm not even saying we're going to get a draw, but I'm going to say we're going to see more hard work. We're going to see more desire. We're going to see more people, a bit more structure, defensively better. And honestly, as long as we can do that, as long as we can grind out a couple of wins at home and some away points, we'll be fine. The problem is I can't see us doing it, and that isn't all of a sudden changing. But I've gone from believing we're going to finish rock bottom and 20th to thinking, do you know what, we're going to go out kicking and screaming. And that's all I can ask for. And look, if by a miracle we stay up, he deserves a statue, because he didn't say it today, but he's been let down by this board. He's been let down by Kevin Thirlwell's recruitment, and he didn't throw anyone under the bus today. He literally didn't throw a single person under the bus. He said, look, they were all trying. I know everyone had talks. I know bids went in. He was really, really speaking good. And I don't believe it for a second. I don't, You know, I believe that Everton probably did put bids in and it was a complete waste of time and they knew it. I think it was a token gesture. Whether Dyche knows that or not, whether he's been played as a bit of a fool or not, it's not my problem. It's not even my... I'm not even there to assume that. But the point is, he's got a feel-good factor. And you know, we go into this game against Arsenal, a team that we all know is very good, a team that can score goals, a team that's currently sitting top of the league. But they're now going up against a team that will be resolute, will be stronger defensively, will put their bodies back on the line, similar to what we were at the start of the season where we weren't really conceding goals. At one point this season, Everton had the best defence in the league. Now, I mean, I'm not even talking like after 1 or 2 games. I'm talking like after 10 games. I think Everton had one of the best defences in the league. I think it was joint with Newcastle. So you can see how polar opposite that is now. If he can go and find that again, with the players that we've got and the physicality that we've got in that side and a bit of pace that we've got, he might be onto something. I mean, who knows? We're going up against an Arsenal side that's really good. Odegaard's playing really well. Martinelli, Saka. I mean, even Nketiah looks like a proper Premier League striker. You know, he looks really, really good, Nketiah. It's going to be really tough. They concede very few goals. But Everton have just got to find a way of being resolute. And, you know, if we can get a 0-0, even a 1-1, I mean, that would be a monumental result. And we know we can get them. I mean, we got a draw against Man City with Frank Lampard in charge, who, by the way, again, Sean Dyche did a really good job today of not throwing him under the bus, of clarifying his comments last April when we played Burnley. You know, he really did say, you know, there's a good group of players here. They just need a little bit more direction. And that's not even a dig at Frank, because Dyche can say that about his experience. I thought Dyche today come across like a class act. And actually, irrespective of if we go down, I still believe we're going to. That hasn't changed. I still believe we're going down. I actually have faith in him to get us back up. I actually have faith in him to deal with the absolute calamitous board that Everton have and the fact that they won't even be at the games. You know, the man that will be in charge tomorrow of Everton Football Club, just as a whole, will be Sean Dyche. And he made sure in his press conference that every single fan is here to work hard, to support the team. He uses his term, and he did it at Burnley and he's done it here as well, about putting sweat on the shirt. And do you know what? Every fan is going to be singing and screaming and supporting that team tomorrow. Every fan's going to be behind it. You know, and there can be protests about the board. And he's almost saying, I get it. I understand, you know, if you need to do what you need to do. But for those 93, 4, 5 minutes, back me and the players. And honestly, he come across really, really well. He used a term as well, which again, honestly, I could have cuddled him. I could have cuddled him. He came across and he said, look, I'm just a custodian. He's literally just involved in the club. We're the heartbeat. Like, we are the heartbeat. And he accepted that. He walked in and he went, look, I'm just doing my job and I'll do it to the best of my ability for as long as I am here. And honestly, I respected him so much. I think tactic-wise tomorrow, on Saturday, I think it'll be really interesting. People keep calling it Dyche ball, but actually, it's going to be really interesting to see what he actually does and how he lines up. You know, traditionally he's a 4-4-2 man. I think you may see Ellie Sims more involved in a Dyche team. I think he may even prefer... I don't necessarily think he'll do this the first game, but I think you may find that he chooses Sims over Mulpay over time, because he likes physical presence up front. I don't think Mulpay offers that, but I think Sims does with Calvert-Lewin. I think you will see Damari Gray. I think you'll see Onana and Garner. I think you may find Iwobi's on the right-hand side. It would not surprise me if you see Ben Godfrey at left-back, Cody and Tarkowski and Coleman and Pickford in goal. But what you'll find is, I think you'll see Garner and Onana much more structured in the middle of the park. I think you'll see a Damari Gray that is doing more tracking back than he's ever done in his life. Iwobi, we already know, will do that. And I think you're going to find that, he's going to be asking Calvert-Lewin and Sims to hold up the ball and to get Onana into play, because I think he'll use Onana as the box-to-box midfielder, which he's used before in various different teams. He does like this box-to-box person in the middle of the park. And I think he'll do that. He's done it with Westwood. I think he did it with Jack Cork. He's done it with Stephen Defoe. He always has that sprinkling of the quality in players like Cornet, and the season before it was McNeil. So I think you will find a very resolute team, and Arsenal's going to have to break it down. And I'm not sitting here confident we're going to get a result. I'm really not. I think we'll lose. And you guys want me to be open and honest. I think we'll lose. But if Frank Lampard was in charge, I think we'd be losing 3-4, 5-0. And with Sean Dyche in charge, I think we lose by a goal. I feel like we will really give it to them. I feel like we may concede late in the first half and probably late in the second half, and we lose 2-0. But we'll give it a go. Because this Arsenal game and this Liverpool game that are coming up, they're not freebies by any stretch, because we've not allowed ourselves to have freebies. No game is freebie at this point. But I'm not expecting a result. But if we can get this team into a structure, into a resolute formation, there's actually no reason we can't get results in the next 4 games after that. There's absolutely no reason, and we've got to go to Forest and win. We've got to beat Leeds at home. We've got to beat these teams that you sort of expect Everton to win at home or even win away. Traditionally, I'm not saying we're better than them at the minute, we're not, but we've almost got to instill that confidence. Everton are back in some form of positive light, and he did that today. He was absolutely sensational today. It was as far as performances go, as a press conference and as an Everton thing, apart from the Palace game where we won 3-0, Sean Dyche's press conference today was up there. He was absolutely magnificent, and I feel really reassured that we're in the right hands. And I think to a lot of people, I think that's really important. Another thing that I think it's really worth looking out for is how much pressure he puts on the 2 centre-halves at Arsenal in terms of balls in the air. Because I don't think he'll play long, but I think he'll look for the diagonals. I think he'll look for Sims or Maupay or Calvert-Lewin to be the one that's sort of causing late runs, causing problems. And it wouldn't surprise me if you see a couple of Arsenal mistakes tomorrow where they feel under pressure. I don't think Everton will rush in. I don't think they'll, be particularly aggressive at making the press. I think he'll allow Arsenal to come forward a little bit, but I think he'll be very resolute. And, whereas before, as I say, I couldn't necessarily call how bad the game was going to be. As I've said, I still think we lose. And I wouldn't be an honest content creator if I didn't. I still think we lose. But I feel like there's more chance we can get a result now than there was under Frank Lampard. And if Everton could get a point out of Saturday and by a miracle get a point at Anfield, which you'd argue is an easier game than the Arsenal game, just because of how poor they're playing at the minute, get 6 points at home to Leeds and Villa, get something at Forest, and I can't remember who else were playing in that time, but get something. It's very quickly going to become an Everton side that actually can go and pick up points away from home and at home. We're going to know very quickly if this team's going to stay in the league. It's not going to be long. All the other teams have strengthened. I really do feel like Everton will kick on. I'm just worried it's a little bit too late. I'm just worried it's too late because, you know, we could have done with 6 points against Wolves and Southampton at home and we didn't get them. We could have done with getting a point away at West Ham. We didn't get them. And I do feel like with under Dyche, I think we probably would have got something out of those games. And we maybe wouldn't be as stressed as we are now, currently sitting joint bottom of the league. The team that's bottom, Southampton, signed, I think it was 2 players that Everton were really, really keen on. In Sulemana and the striker, I can't pronounce his name. So, you know, they've signed some quality. So you've almost got to hope that they don't hit the ground running. But, you know, he reassured us today that there is some quality in this side and we've just got to unlock it. Still, I don't know where the goals are coming from. Calvert-Lewin has looked nowhere near what he used to, but there's several reasons for that. One, the ball's not put in the box half as much as it used to be. 2, his finishing's just off. In terms of one-on-ones, he's never really been great at them, and I don't feel like we have enough players that follow up, whereas you may find in a Sean Dyche setup that actually improves. I think we need a footballer in the middle of the park. I've said this before, and you know, we've been linked with Isco on a free transfer. I know there's lots of people that would say, what are you talking about, Mike? But in terms of having a footballer in the middle of the park, somebody who's got a little bit more composure, we haven't got one. So bringing in an Isco is actually better than nothing. And he may not be available or fit enough to play against Arsenal and Liverpool. And is that the right game for them? Probably not. But against the Leeds and the Villa, he could be beneficial. We will see. I'll give you my score prediction. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I'd love to get a win. I'd love to, you know, get a point. A lot of people will be watching this video and they'll say, do you know what Sean Dyche's record is like against Arsenal? And yes, he's got a pretty decent record against Arsenal. But I just feel like he's came across really well to us. He's probably came across really well to the players. But Arsenal, to be fair to them, are a different level. They're a different level. They're playing really, really, really well. Wouldn't surprise me if they win the league. And I do think they'll take all 3 points. As horrible as it is to say. But we'll be there. We'll cheer on the boys. We'll cheer on the team. We'll cheer on the manager. And, you know, if I was the board, I wouldn't be turning up. I strongly suggest they don't. Not even because it will be physical or there'll be violence. What they will do is it will create a negative effect, just like it did before the Southampton game when they come out and all accusations were made and all sorts of rubbish. They really did escalate the problem and make that game worse. It all turned on them. So for me, if I was the Everton board, I wouldn't be coming to the game. Watch it on your IPTV box or whatever you watch it on at home, and leave the football people to do a football job for a change. And in terms of Kevin Thirlwell, because I've got to mention him, if he was given money and he wasn't able to broker deals that he was given authority to do, then he's let the club down and should be dismissed. If his hands were tied behind his back and he's been used as a shield, we're never really going to find out. But I like to think he would stay. And actually, it would have been really good for him to come out today on the press conference and just explain, but he didn't. But in my mind, I actually don't think Kevin Thirlwell's done a particularly good job, if I'm being honest. I got crucified when I commented about Brands. I got crucified when I commented about Walsh the first time that I mentioned these things, and I weren't wrong. and you know, Kevin Thirlwell, whether Mulpay and McNeil was his players, they played for Everton Football Club, and whether that was Mashiri, Kenwright or Thirlwell, it's immaterial. If it was Thirlwell, though, then it's shocking recruitment. It was very obvious it would be shocking recruitment. We need more. We need better, and they're not better. If anything, they're worse than what we've got. So we'll see. But yeah, if I was Kevin Thirlwell, I'd probably leave. And fair play to Dyche for not throwing anyone under the bus, because he didn't. And the problem is, we all know. Just really liked his comments about being a custodian, and I respect that massively. And you know, he basically came out and said that he's just passing through, but while he's here, he's going to do the best job possible, and that he needs us. He needs me. He needs my little boy. He needs the next generation of fans. He needs you. He needs your grandparents and your children, etc. He needs everyone that goes into that ground, and every Evertonian around the world. Positivity, positive vibes, right passion, sing and shout in a good way. And Sean Dyche, he'll definitely get that. He'll certainly get that from me, and I wish him all the best in his first game. But I can assure you, I'll be backing him for the next 18 games of this season. I'll be backing him when we're in the Championship next season. And I trust him to get us promoted, irrespective of the absolute car crash shit show, embarrassing knobheads that unfortunately are in the Everton board. Guys, I'm leaving it there. Keep smiling. I feel like the tide is turning. It's just whether it's turning quick enough.